Hello and welcome to Tarot with Tonja. This is 7 cards for 7 days, and we are looking at the week of Monday, December 9th and 24 to Sunday, December 15th. And we start our week with the moon in Aries, and we end next Sunday with the moon in Cancer. So thank you so much for being here. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome for the first time if you're new. With any reading like this, which is a general one for the collective, just take what resonates for you, leave the rest behind, keep working on your own intuition. So I will talk briefly about the astrology, which is so much more mellow compared to last week, where we had a lot going on. We do have a big full moon. I'll talk about that. But not a lot of other aspects this week in particular. So then we'll talk about the cards, and I'm using the Wildwood deck, and then we'll finish with the Tree Keeper's Oracle. So in terms of that moon in Aries, Aries is a warrior, ruled by Mars, likes to be first, likes to get things done efficiently, likes to lead. That sort of energy, a lot of initiation. And then we'll go through, of course, Taurus and Gemini, and we'll end up with the moon in Cancer. So we're going from fire to air. Let's see, what did I say? Fire, air, and then we'll be in water. So with the Cancer, Cancer is ruled by the moon, and that's where you're the homebody, likes to cook, nurture people, can be very protective of one's own emotions. So, next Sunday could be a good day to take it easy, stick close to home. Though we do have that wild full moon. On Thursday, the 12th of December, we have Venus opposing Mars, and also Mercury sextile Venus. So you've got your classic feminine with Venus, classic masculine with Mars. So their oppositions in that sense to me can be very balancing. The actually, I think, trickier part about this is when you have Mercury meeting up, or not meeting up, but making an aspect, a sextile to Venus. We could, get very attracted to somebody in a pretty superficial way. Mercury is not a lot about the depth. It's about information. It can be very spontaneous and fun and travel and curious and clever, but not necessarily deep. So we kind of want to watch that. It can be a good day to flirt, but not maybe to take things too seriously. And then on Sunday, we have that Mercury going direct. So a day or two after that, if you've been experiencing communication problems, tech problems, travel plan issues, things like that, it should start to get better. It's an interesting degree. I don't know if you've heard of the Sabian symbols, but there's one for every degree on the zodiac. And it just happened to catch my eye that this degree where Mercury is going direct is where Cupid knocks at the door of the human heart. And a kind of translation of that can be that our emotional intelligence can be superior to our logic. So we want to, come from the heart, put the heart and the mind together to create wise mind and not overvalue that intellect. Then the big one, the full moon in Gemini. And this one is, the chart is very complicated in terms of repercussions for information, being released in the United States, potentially, of course, around the world. But astrologers, I'm doing this fairly lightly here, right? Just a part to supplement the tarot. But if you're curious about that, there are lots of videos out there on YouTube. I would check that out because it could be a pretty significant revelation of information that day. We shall see. All right, so the cards. Pretty pleasant week in the cards. We have a mixture of elements here, and we start with fire, what's called bows in the Wildwood deck. So we have the 10. This one, you know, across many decks, typically is a person burdened by a bunch of wands, looks like sticks here, and climbing. And, you know, the subtitle, if you can see that, is responsibilities. So it's sort of like the village is up at the top. The person is climbing up to contribute to the village. So it can be a sense of being overburdened. So, you know, two ways to take that. One, overburdened and about to put the burden down, or overburdened and not even realizing one has burdened oneself. So only you can answer that. But I kind of feel like maybe it's a message overall to us, to the collective, to lighten up a little bit, kind of put down some responsibilities, see what really does belong to us, and let the rest go. And I feel like to bolster that, the next day, on that Tuesday, we get the pole star, which, you know, typically is just called the star. So we've moved from a minor, a wand, the 10 of wands, a peak number in the wands, to a major, and it's a 17, which makes it an 8 energy. So there's a lot of strength in this. And this is the Aquarius energy. The star is a symbol for Aquarius. So we've got Pluto and now Venus at that first degree of Aquarius. So this is a really, really, you know, when there's that ingress into a sign, planets moving in, it's very potent. So this is a lot of potent stuff, power to the people, love of the people, love for the people. You know, in a personal sense, it could be love of self, love of humanity. And one of the messages of this card for me is, and it fits actually with the 10 of bows in my perspective, that yes, be generous, which is such an Aquarius trait. Aquarius can be known by the big, generous mouth. Not, you know, the talking too, but literally the wide mouth, the big smile. But it's also necessary to save something for yourself. Don't give it all the way to others. Keep what you need for you, and then you're most effective. On Wednesday, we've switched elements, and now we're to something much earthier. It is a double feminine. Pages are considered a feminine energy, and then you have stones, and in this case, stones represent earth, so that's a feminine element as well. It's the lynx. I think it's very beautiful. For one, I love the way it's perched in the tree. I mean, the earthiness is, to me, it's in the stone, it's in the branches, it's in the actual body of the lynx. So this one, with all that orange and that cat energy, feels a bit fiery to me as well. So it can be new and solid information coming in. What is something that you need to know? And it might come just from a knowing, just a feminine intuition inside you, or somebody might bring some news, a young woman, a young feminine type. We get our second and the last one for this week's reading, major, in the Lovers on Thursday. So obviously it can represent a couple of whatever genders, that doesn't matter, but two people in some kind of union. It can represent contracts, agreements, I think even getting things in balance. One of the more esoteric meanings of this card is the sacred marriage, the hieroskamos, which is the marriage of the inner male and female energies. Again, regardless of gender, we all have those. And are they coming together? And you've got this lovely binding of the hands here, and, you know, the hands on the hearts and so forth, to show that this is a very genuine union. And remember, I'm laughing. because also that's the day where Mercury and Venus are sextile. So make sure it is genuine. Don't be fooled by something that looks very attractive. And you know, it could be fun. Just know that there could be a superficial element too. When we get to Friday, we are back to the bows. So we have pairs of stones, pairs of bows. The one element we don't have this week is the air, and that could be good. Maybe we need a break. That's the thinking element. Here on Friday, we get that Seven of Wands, and it's called clearance. And you see the fire in the background, the smoke rising from that, the axe on the ground, the bow to shoot the arrows in a sense. And you know, traditionally this card often is standing up for what you believe in, having the courage to make a stand and say, you know, it fits with the Chariot. All sevens do. All the 7 minors fit with the Chariot. So that, all right, this is my limit, this is what I believe. And it reminds me of that idea in Angelis Arian's book on the tarot of show up, tell the truth. Well, show up, be present, tell the truth, and don't be attached to the outcome. So the Seven of Wands can have that kind of energy. So that's our Friday. Saturday is lovely. One of the sweetest cards in the deck, the wonderful 3 of Cups, or in this deck they're called vessels. So obviously water, intuition, flow, harmony, creativity, that comes with the 3 as well as with the water. And I think cranes are just so beautiful, and they're doing a sort of dance over each of the unique chalices. This is considered a very feminine card. It's often 3 women, but you know, 3 harmonious elements, 3 people. You know, enjoy that day when that energy comes up next weekend, because it could get a little wilder on Sunday when we have that full moon in Gemini. Now the card we have that day should help with that, because it is the 8, and so that's the second 8 this week. Remember, we had the pole star, which is a 17. 1 and 7 make 8, connecting it to the strength card 8. In this deck it's called the Stag, if you happen to have this deck or know it. But this is the crafts person, the someone who works really hard at things and gets better and better at doing them, knows the craft well, wants to make things that benefit other people, is strong and stable. That's that earth energy. 8, you can think of that infinity, you know, the energy is just working through and repeating, and you see that hand stamped on the cave wall here, and the collection of objects, the 8 objects made by our craftsperson. So that could be a good day to get some practical things done. But I do want to mention how that might balance with that full moon in Gemini. So you know, Gemini is air, it's the twins, it's ruled by Mercury, so that's that quick, lightning, information, things flowing. Mercury had the winged, you know, boots, could fly here, was the messenger for the gods, bringing the information. So not necessarily figuring things out for everybody, but circulating, and you know, can be very clever, can play tricks and things like that. So there's a potential, a lot of illumination around technology, information, things like that. So I would watch that day, see what happens. Well, beloveds, I hope that helps you. I always do. I'm wishing you the most wonderful week. And again, hopefully it feels lighter, at least until the weekend, than this last week does or did, because it was pretty heavy. And yes, my face is swollen because the dentist beat me up the other day. I'm fine. It just was a long procedure. But anyway, please, please, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I will see you again in 7 days. And if you're interested in a reading, there's information at the end of the video and below in the description box. I'll see you soon.